A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. As tensions continue to escalate in Eastern Europe, Ukraine finds itself at a critical crossroads, facing increasing pressure to accept a controversial peace deal proposed by American and Russian negotiators. The peace plan, which has raised eyebrows among U.S. lawmakers, outlines a 28-point framework that critics argue disproportionately favors Moscow and undermines Ukraine's sovereignty. This proposed agreement comes at a time when the war between Ukraine and Russia has been ongoing, with significant territorial disputes and a long history of conflict. The deal reportedly requires Ukraine to relinquish control over its eastern Donbass region and Crimea, which has been under Russian occupation since 2014. Furthermore, it demands that Ukraine abandon its aspirations for NATO membership, a move that many see as a capitulation to Russian aggression. The plan was made public by a Ukrainian opposition politician and has been confirmed by a White House official. It is said to incorporate feedback from both Russian and Ukrainian officials, indicating that diplomatic discussions are ongoing. In a move that has drawn criticism, President Trump has set a deadline of Thanksgiving Day for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to respond to the proposal. Members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee have expressed serious concerns regarding the details of the reported peace plan. Prominent lawmakers, including Democrat Jeanne Shaheen and Republican Tom Tillis, issued a joint statement emphasizing that the Ukrainian people have fought valiantly to defend their territory against Russian incursions. They argue that a just and lasting peace cannot be achieved by continuously offering concessions to Russian President Vladimir Putin, which they believe would jeopardize Ukraine's ability to defend itself in the future. The committee's statement highlights a crucial point. History has shown that Putin only respects strength and will not adhere to any agreement unless it is backed by force. The lawmakers have called for a close consultation with Ukrainian and NATO partners to determine the best course of action moving forward. They also emphasize the need to exert real pressure on Russia to engage in meaningful negotiations, making it clear that the United States will steadfastly support the principles of freedom and territorial integrity. The bipartisan Congressional Ukraine Caucus has also voiced its criticism of the proposed peace plan, stating that it appears to prioritize the interests of the aggressor, Russia, over the security and sovereignty of Ukraine. The caucus argues that the framework does not present a legitimate path to lasting peace, but rather demands Ukraine's surrender to Russian aggression. They assert that the international community must remain resolute in its support for Ukraine, upholding the principles of self-determination and rejecting any plan that rewards aggressive behavior. European officials have indicated that they were not involved in the drafting of the proposal and have called for further refinement of the plan. During the recent G20 summit in South Africa, Western leaders acknowledged that the peace plan requires additional work to ensure it does not compromise Ukraine's territorial integrity. The emergence of this peace plan follows a series of meetings between U.S. officials and their Russian and Ukrainian counterparts. Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, met with Kirill Dmitriev, a key advisor to Putin, in Miami to discuss the framework. In the coming days, Ukrainian envoys are scheduled to meet with a U.S. delegation in Geneva, Switzerland, to further discuss the proposal. This delegation will include high-ranking officials such as Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, along with Witkoff. 9 Ukrainian officials, including Zelensky's chief of staff, are expected to participate in these critical discussions. As Ukraine navigates the complexities of the proposed peace plan, it also commemorates a tragic chapter in its history, the Great Famine imposed by Soviet leader Joseph Stalin in the early 1930s, which led to the deaths of millions. In a poignant video address, President Zelensky reaffirmed Ukraine's commitment to defending its sovereignty, stating, "We defend, and will always defend Ukraine. Because only here is our home. And in our home, Russia will definitely not be the master." This statement encapsulates the sentiment of many Ukrainians who are determined to resist external pressures and maintain their nation's independence and integrity amidst ongoing challenges. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.